we're talking a lot about here in terms of your role specifically, right? And sort of how you have not necessarily emerged as a leader within different spaces of the league, but something that we've been doing on attacking third, really stemming back into last month as a CBA was right. I was talking to a lot of different players about their reactions to the CBA, but I'd actually like to talk to you specifically about the PA as a whole, a little bit, to sort of have those kind of humble beginnings of just sort of being a place where players can sort of have a supportive network, right? To finally becoming a full-fledged actual like players union, right? Going to negotiating tables, bargaining for a new contract. For you, what was your progression in terms of this leadership role that you now find yourself in today?
Yeah, I think initially it was really, and I'm sure all of this news is out there, but or information is Yael, she went around to each of the clubs and said, we would like to form a union. This is vital to the growth of the league. This is important for player security, all of that. And I think at the time, I want to say that was around 2016. At the time, national team players weren't going to be included in that. I had been on the club for a while, and probably at that point, even though I was still mid-20s, probably one of the only returning players, because there was so much turnover with our club, that I just became probably an easy face to communicate with. We had played together in the past as well, so we were comfortable with each other, and she just asked me to be a player rep. If she had communication, she would reach out to me. If there was anything going wrong, I could reach out to her. Very basic stuff. From there, it kind of turned into, I think it was just a matter of being really responsive to Yael. I respect her so much, and I respected what she was doing at the time, kind of on her own time, in her own time when she was still playing, and really wanted to be a help. And I think that she appreciated that. So she asked me to take a bigger role at one point. Gosh, can't remember exactly when, 2017-ish. That's, I think, around the same time when Brooke Elby got more involved, and she was amazing at, going out and getting sponsorships. She's now in business school. She's going to be a force to be reckoned with when she gets out of business school. She's going to hit the ground running and do some really amazing things. But I think just after Brooke ended up going into business school, she retired because she had some really difficult experiences in our league as well, and she wanted to write those. Became our executive director along with Yael, and I think that it was just an easy transition for me to kind of go into the president role. I think that being in a leadership position like that, oftentimes when it is something new like that, you're kind of just called to it. It's not something I sought out. It requires a lot of work, a lot of phone calls, and it can be exhausting at times. And sometimes you have to do stuff that you don't really want to do. And I wouldn't say I'm special in any means. I think there's so many other players out there that would do awesome in this role. And they're going to have to once I retire. So I'm excited for that. But it's really simple. Like it's not anything exciting how I've gotten into this role, but I've learned so much, and I've loved all of the interactions that I've had with our other executive committee members. Have created great relationships with them, great relationships with Megan. Just the amount of progress that we've made in a short period of time is so impressive to me, and it's due in part to the amazing work of everybody that's been involved with the organization.
I love hearing how these things evolve, because right around the ratification of the CBA, we had a chance to speak with Yael and kind of about how it got started. And she let us in on a little anecdote that it started as a group chat, and then it kind of just snowballed into these things. So it's interesting that your role as president almost kind of happened like that as well. It's like it kept expanding and growing, and you were there and you had the experience and the knowledge, and you kind of stepped up to the plate to continue to do that. And as media covering this league and as a fan of this league and as a former player, congratulations to you, Tori, because there's a CBA, first ever CBA in the league's history. And you were a huge part of that. It was a long time coming, and finally it happened before the 10th year of the league. So congratulations to you. How was kind of that process and ultimately getting it announced, the ratification of the CBA before the 2022 preseason started? How was that for you?
Amazing. It was down to the wire, as it usually is. But the fact that we were able to do it before preseason started, gosh, we've said so many times, sense of relief. There's a sense of security there. It's like, finally, this has been a long time coming, and just so excited for some of these young players that are going to enter our league and be safe. That was one of our biggest things, even from everything that happened last year. Safety is so important. Mental health is so important. And I think we did really well in those areas when it comes to the CBA. And just feeling like these, I look at some of these rookies, and Spirit has a decent amount of them, and even younger players, like they've only been in the league for 3 or so years. They're very young, and that's amazing. But I want them to have a spectacular experience in our league, and a really just great beginning to their career that they can be really proud of and truly happy with. And I think that a CBA makes that a little bit easier.
It's really delightful to sort of hear from you specifically as the president of the PA to sort of talk about this, because what we were doing throughout the month of February was really celebrating the CBA on attacking third. We challenged ourselves to do like a full 12 team preview. So within that, we're talking to a player from every club, and we were asking them because we wanted to hear from them and celebrate this sort of historic achievement. And everyone sort of, said their piece on it and reacting to it. So, whether it's your teammates, your peers, your colleagues, I guess at this point we could refer to them, when we're looking at and chatting with them about it, there are so many things within this actual CBA that we can just tie to direct player experience, right? Things within it that discuss the obvious big ones of like, minimum salary, requirements, the concepts of parental leave, things that address mental health, and so many things in between. And as someone who was very active, right, for the PA in these negotiations, is there a particular point or detail within this CBA that you're most proud of, or that resonates with you yourself personally?
Yeah, I've already touched on it, but the mental health article in our CBA is it's going to set a precedent. I think there's nothing like it in any other CBA that I've ever read. Having a mental health leave, paid mental health leave, is unheard of. And it was exactly as you're saying, due in part because players were coming to our bargaining committee meetings, sharing their experiences, and really just pushing the importance of not only our physical health, because we have the health and safety article in there as well, and certain medical professionals that need to be on staff, but also the mental health. Mental illness is a real problem, not just for athletes, for our entire world. And it is again, about time that we have something like that, some protection over things that can happen. They're tied, right? It's physical and mental health are tied together. And it's just important. And I'm really, really proud of the fact that we were able to negotiate for that.
I think it's such a huge point. I mean, as Sandra said, we asked so many different players what was important to them. And a lot of them said that because it is so important to really set that precedent for sports leagues and just companies across the world and across everything. So CBA in place, 5 years of the CBA, you get 4 years with the new commissioner, Jessica Vernon. For you, Tori, when you look at the next few years of the league, what goals do you have for the league?
That is a great question. Gosh, there have been so many goals that we've, or so many, I guess, tasks that I've been able to check off my to-do list recently, which is great. But
love checking off things off the to-do list.
Right, don't you? Sometimes you just got to write something on there and then check it off, something you've already done. But I think one of the things that always comes to mind is a really great broadcast deal. And I think that might seem strange, but I think that, everything that all eyes point to that, or, we get more eyes on the TV if we have something like that. When we have more games on TV on the weekend, it's more visibility. When there's more people in the stands, then more networks want to be a part of that. And it's just about, being really nimble in that space, which I think that the new commissioner is going to be really great at. And, I really just think that that's our next step. It is the visibility. It is the legitimizing of the league. Being on TV for female sports is super important. It's the next best step.